everyone. This is Monica Miller from Looking for Group. I'm here with Josh Nichols from Dickinson State University. He is the esports coordinator, and he's going to be answering a few questions today. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Happy to be here. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Excellent. Well, then I'll just go ahead and get right started. How did the program get started at Dickinson State?
I think you completely cut out on me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll try that again. The first question I have for you is, how did the program get started at Dickinson State University?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So our program started fall 2019, and I think like some programs across the nation, it was kind of this esports thing. We hear about it, our administrators and our academics, we're hearing that esports is maybe starting across the country. Obviously, esports has been big everywhere for a long time, but at the collegiate level, it's something new, especially for the academic side of the house. And so I think our administrators got a whiff that esports is going to be something, and they asked me to come on board to sort of help start the program and see what was going on. And once that happened, it kind of blew up. And I think we're seeing that, nationwide, that universities are just exploding with esports programs, and whether that be on the academic side with certificates and entrepreneurship and those types of things, or just the varsity programs or casual gameplay, it's kind of becoming a huge deal everywhere. So that's how it started for us. We started small. We've been continuing to grow.
Awesome. So I did hear a little bit about the academic side. Did esports come to Dickinson from the academic side primarily, or more so the competitive casual playing side? I see the space behind you, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but I definitely want to know about the academic versus actual player component.
Yeah, so right now we don't really have any specific academic program set up, but I think we had a few administrators that were on the finance, the academic side, recruitment side that said, we hear this esports stuff, it's kind of going. They went to a conference where they were talking about how esports was growing. I'm looking to add more academic components, and I've been trying to integrate different types of gaming in general, not just competitive gaming, but whether we have our agriculture program that's a huge program, maybe their freshman seminar uses farming simulator and has that as their first year experience. Maybe the nursing program uses anatomy and VR. So I'm hoping to integrate those things, but then also eventually have certificate programs and esport entrepreneurship, broadcasting, design, and those types of things. So hopefully we add those in the future. Right now we run the gamut from all kinds of gameplay, whether that be just casual. We offer equipment. Then we have the a club level where we can do more informal tournaments on campus or with the community, and then we have the varsity program as well.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you organically started talking about that, because that's my next question. Can you tell me a little bit more about the competitive and casual communities on your campus and how they interact together and separately?
Yeah, so it's a smaller staff here at Dickinson State. One of the nice things about our campus, we have great student to faculty ratios and those types of things because we're small, but that also is a limited amount of resources. So when you're looking at those limited resources, we try to see how can we offer as much as possible, but also make it scalable. So for me, my criteria has been, do we have enough people that are interested in a particular game or activity? And do I have enough, hours to dedicate within my day without passing out, And we also try to ensure that we're offering something a little bit for everybody. So if we have an interest for a student, whether they want to do it casually or varsity, we want to make sure that we add that possibility. For our varsity teams, when we first started out, it was essentially, hey, you play this game and you have a pulse? Great, awesome. Let's put you on a varsity team. And pulse was even optional. We were very loose at that time. And now as we start growing the program, we're getting that succession line of students who are, going to be juniors and seniors, and we're getting incoming freshmen and sophomores and those types of things. They're getting more competitive as it goes along. So we want to make sure that however a student wants to be involved on campus with gaming, that we have some offering for them. Gotcha. And beyond that, we want to make sure that we have something for students at Dickinson State. I don't care if you're in the choir or on the football team or you join esports. We want you to be engaged and involved on campus. And if we can be one piece of that, that's what we try to do.
It definitely sounds like your standpoint is just generally inclusive. You want to make sure that there's a spot for everybody there, which is really great.
And we have varsity players that then interact on the casual level. So, you'll find them on their off time in the lab. We have two spaces on campus, which I know we'll get to, but one of the spaces is a little bit more casual. So we'll find them just playing casually. Sometimes I'll sneak in the varsity lab during practices and I see them playing games that, aren't their varsity teams, and it's like, it's weird scolding somebody for playing it. You're not playing the right game. You need to play this other game. So, but, we have, a lot of individuals who are just passionate about gaming and passionate about that industry. And so when a new game pops out. Sometimes we'll have like a midnight premiere event of a certain game that, a launch party or something, and the varsity players, the casual players, and then just students who maybe don't have any idea about what gaming is. Whenever I talk to students, recruiting and stuff, I ask their parents and their siblings and everybody, like, do you play any games? Like, it doesn't matter what kinds of games that you play. Do you play, really competitively? Do you play games on your phone? Do you play emotional games with friends and family?
It all counts. Yeah.
And so, essentially, however students want to be involved, we get them involved. And even if it's at the spectator level, we have a lot of students that just like to watch.
That's really interesting. So you kind of organically, again, started talking about the facility. Do you want to just go ahead and outline what the two, like which one are you in now, and what are the difference between the two, how many computers there are, who are you, sponsored or partnered with, if anyone, those sorts of things?
Yeah, so right now our sponsorships hopefully will be listed on your website as sponsor. We can get $1 million sponsor or something like that. Right now we don't really have a lot of big name sponsors or anything. We have some community partners that we worked with. We have an advisory board that kind of helps us with individuals who are prominent in the community and have some background with stuff. But we don't have a lot of financial stake in programming. Our institution really took a big bite out of the need for the spaces and the programs, both financially and the physical space. So right now we have 2 dedicated spaces for esports. We have an esports varsity lab. It's key card access control just for our varsity players. Our building that we have it in is open 24 hours a day, and thus it's 24 hours a day for our students to use. That room is typically booked up with competitions in the evenings and weekends pretty regularly. And then during the day, we have a little bit of flex time. And then we have a larger space that is, it's called our Blue Hawk Hub, and that's more of a casual space. We have student activities and events in there, but those are also available. The gaming computers are available for anybody to use at any time, again, 24 hours a day with their student ID cards. So that room has 9 PCs that are dedicated. We also have the 3 major consoles hooked up to the big screen so they can play, Mario Kart up on the big screen projector or whatever. And then our varsity lab, we have 6 dedicated gaming PCs for the actual tournament, and then a broadcast station. And I'm also setting up a separate broadcast room because now we're running into needing to broadcast multiple games at the same time or record one while we're broadcasting another. So it's growing.
Yeah. I heard somewhere that you can expect your esports program to double in just a year of being open, and across the board. As your eyes open like that, I'm sure you're feeling the same way.
Yeah, I went to a couple of different conferences, and they recommended that we only have 1 game to start with. Please only start with 1 game, really do that well, kind of figure things out. And we started with 4 the first year.
Okay.
And we had some growing things with figuring out, making sure the software works, making sure that we get the streaming right, making sure we have everything in place. But that can easily grow. I could add another 6 games to our lineup right now with the amount of interest we have. It's just a matter of amount of hours in the day and a matter of lab space we have.
True.
So we're still looking at expanding. We're getting laptops in right now that we're setting up. So not only can we have that external space that we can use in another area where we have students compete, but also if we need to, sort of have some distance on campus for whatever reason, we can always have them play from their rooms or play at a distance from campus. And so we can still keep competition going, even if we're not able to use the physical spaces.
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head there. Laptops are really great option for keeping that social distancing, and also, for the students who might not have access at home or at their dorms to still be able to play without having to go to the lab. That is really cool. So what you said you wanted to add about 6 more games. What do you have now for the students to play competitively?
So, I'll answer that with what we did last year. So we had Apex, Fortnite, Rocket League, and Rainbow Six. And Apex was a little bit light on options of tournaments last year. And then Fortnite is something that we're starting more in the spring with some of the tournaments. So Apex and Fortnite may still happen. We just added Valorant that's actually in competition right now. And then in the spring, we're looking at possibly adding Madden, 2K, and FIFA. And then I'm just right now registering and getting students up for some Call of Duty Modern Warfare tournaments. So there's just like games coming in every direction. And then a lot of those have multiple tournaments. We can have multiple teams for each. Right now, our team for Rocket League, they are registered for, I believe, 5 tournaments, and we have a 6th that we're possibly registering for.
Wow.
So there's going to be one point in time where they have 4 different competitive games in a single week.
Yikes.
And so it can get a little it can get a little unwieldy, but
Yeah.
it's also good practice. Some of them, they use their tournaments that they're losing at as kind of their practices for the tournaments they're winning at. So
That's a learning experience. If I haven't heard one before, you got to take what you learn from the loss and, bring it to the win. That's great. So, switching gears a little bit, can you tell me something that is unique about your program that you might want a prospective student to know that would set you apart?
well, I think that we have a uniqueness not only with our program with trying to have that inclusion. I think a lot of campuses really hit on the inclusion piece and they want everybody involved, but a lot of times the focus ends up being on more the varsity piece of things. And they say, we really want this varsity program, we want it to be successful because they model it after their athletics program or those types of things. And we want that same sort of model here. But if we have a team, one of our teams right now, they're not as experienced. Some of them are, switching between controller to keyboard, and they're not really in that mode. But we create the team anyway, and we treat it almost like as a JV team or something like that, where they have the opportunity to practice and be involved and kind of be part of that culture and that community on campus without necessarily needing to be the top skill level. If we have top tier skill level and then some casual players, but they both want involved, we'll have an A and B team. We will add them in any aspect of our program that we can to keep them involved, keep them engaged. It's good for our recruitment. It's good for our retention. And then as students are coming to Dickinson State, the thing that's unique about DSU is we do have a smaller campus. We do have more one-on-one attention. I've worked with our theater program on campus, and when we've, I talk to students about that theater program, I say, do you want to go to an institution where you might never be on stage and you're going to play tree number 3 for every production? Or do you want to be at a smaller campus where you're able to actually be involved, get your hands dirty, and be, engaged with it? And so we kind of model our esports program after that as well, where, if you have 100 students trying out for 5 spots and a couple subs on your team, might not get in. And so here it's like, if you want to be a part of it, we will try to figure out how to make that happen for you, while also trying to increase our competitive advantage with some of those other competitions and tournaments.
Yeah, it almost sounds like an individualized personal experience on how do I fit into this program. It definitely sounds like you guys take the inclusivity piece and actually put some effort behind it. I think a lot of schools want that piece to stand for itself and the students to do it organically, but sometimes it definitely needs a little bit of help from the administration side to get it going, and it definitely sounds like you have that down. So yeah. Sorry, you're freezing up a little bit on me.
Sorry, breaking up just a little bit.
Yeah, I was just saying the same thing. Yeah. I'll conclude the thought and move on to the next and the final question. So for any students who might be looking at or this page or watching this video right now, what is one piece of advice or something you'd want them to know either about your program or generally about finding a college esports program?
Well, I always talk to students first about finding a university that fits them first, finding an academic program that fits them first. I've had a lot of students that I talk about our program, I'll meet them at an event, they fill out a form on our website, and they're like, I want to play games. And I'm like, what do you want to do for life? Like, what do you want to get a degree
What about
in?
the rest of it?
Career? And they're like, I don't really know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really invested. And part of college is finding out what you want to do. So there is a learning curve there, and you don't need to know exactly what you want to do when you come in, but your goal cannot be, I just want to play games. That's not what we're here for. We're an extracurricular activity. We're a varsity sport. You can play football, but the chances of you making it big, or the chances of you coming to the football team, and that's what you want to do. You're not graduating with a degree in football. That's part of the experience. It's part of that leadership skills. It's part of that teamwork and that engagement. So find a university that fits you first, and the esports or the extracurriculars will follow. Now, I would love to have everybody come to my program and I can sell my program to them, but if they drop after the first year, that doesn't help them as a student, and it doesn't help our teams. It doesn't help anyone. So finding that fit for them first, and whether that's proximity to where they live, whether that's cost of attendance, faculty-student ratio, and that's why I always talk about the things that DSU offers in regards to that, because that's what you should care about first. And then the rest will follow. So that's the best piece of advice I can give them. And once you find that, look at what matters to you as far as that program. Again, for us, I try to tell them you can be involved, period. We will figure out a way to keep you involved, whether it's casually at a club level, at a varsity level, you can be involved, versus maybe feeling as though they're not, that have that competitive advantage to get on a team that they're going to, be able to play on a regular basis. And that's the other thing. So if you have the competitive advantage and you're a rock star, find a good scholarship. If you just want to be involved and play, find a spot where you can thrive and not a place where you're just going to be on the bench, so to speak.
I think that is amazing advice, and I think you encompass generally the college search and also more specifically the esports program search all in one. That was excellent. That was a great answer. Thank you.